Doctors once stitched a second dog's head onto another living dog, and both heads survived. Sounds like science fiction? It actually happened. Medicine has come a long way, but in its early days, and sometimes even recently, curiosity pushed scientists into ethically gray, shocking, and downright bizarre territory. From the name of science, they did things you won't believe. Here are 10 of the weirdest medical experiments in human history, some that saved lives and others that crossed every imaginable line. Fact 1. The dog head transplant, Soviet Union, 1950s. In the 1950s, Soviet scientist Vladimir Demikov performed a series of bizarre surgeries. He transplanted the head and upper body of a small dog onto the neck of a larger dog. The result? A two-headed dog. Both heads were conscious, moved independently, and reacted to stimuli. Demikov performed dozens of these experiments, some of which survived for days. While grotesque, these surgeries were early explorations into organ transplantation. Modern heart and lung transplants owe something to Demikov's macabre methods, but the ethics remain deeply controversial. His work inspired later researchers, including American neurosurgeon Robert White, who transplanted a monkey's head in the 1970s. Fact 2. The Monster Study, Iowa, 1939. In an attempt to understand stuttering, researchers at the University of Iowa conducted an experiment on 22 orphans. Some children were given positive reinforcement for speech. Others, who didn't stutter, were told they had speech problems and were criticized regularly. The result? Some developed lifelong psychological trauma and speech issues. It became known as the Monster Study because of its cruel nature. Though never published at the time, it sparked heated ethical debates in later decades. Modern speech therapy distances itself from such manipulative methods. Fact 3. Tuskegee Syphilis Study, USA, 1932-1972. For 40 years, African-American men in Tuskegee, Alabama, were enrolled in a study on untreated syphilis. Researchers did not tell them they had syphilis, nor did they offer treatment, even after penicillin became the standard cure. Instead, doctors monitored the progression of the disease until the men died. The scandal broke in the 1970s, sparking public outrage and reforming U.S. medical ethics. It led to stricter laws on informed consent and established the Office for Human Research Protections. But the damage was irreversible, and trust in the medical system among Black Americans remains affected to this day. Fact 4. Aversion therapy for homosexuality. Various countries, 20th century. Until the late 20th century, being gay was considered a mental illness in many parts of the world. In response, doctors experimented with curing homosexuality using electric shocks, chemical injections, and nausea-inducing drugs. In some cases, patients were forced to watch same-sex images while being made violently ill. In South Africa, military conscripts were subjected to these experiments. Some were even subjected to chemical castration. These brutal methods left lasting physical and emotional scars. Thankfully, such practices are now widely condemned, and LGBTQ+ conversion therapies have been banned in many countries. Fact 5. Joseph Mengele's twin experiments, Nazi Germany, 1940s. Perhaps the most infamous medical experiments were carried out by Nazi doctor Josef Mengele at Auschwitz. He was obsessed with twins and used them for experiments without anesthesia, injecting dyes into their eyes, amputating limbs, and infecting one twin to compare outcomes with the other. Many of the twins died. Others lived but were permanently scarred. His goal? To uncover secrets of genetics and reproduction for Nazi eugenics. The Nuremberg trials later exposed these atrocities and helped create the Nuremberg Code, a foundation for modern medical ethics. Fact 6. The Stanford Prison Experiment, USA, 1971. Not strictly medical, but undeniably psychological. Psychologist Philip Zimbardo created a mock prison with volunteers assigned roles of guards or inmates. Within days, the guards became abusive, and the prisoners showed signs of extreme stress. The study had to be shut down after just 6 days. It revealed how quickly ordinary people could conform to oppressive roles, given the right conditions. Though often criticized for its lack of controls, the experiment has shaped how we understand power, authority, and institutional abuse. Fact 7. MK-Ultra Mind Control Experiments, USA, 1950s-60s. The CIA's MK-Ultra program aimed to explore mind control using drugs, hypnosis, and sensory deprivation. Subjects were often drugged with LSD without consent, locked in isolation, or subjected to psychological torture. Some participants went mad, others died. The CIA destroyed many documents, and the truth only came out in the 1970s through investigations. To this day, MK-Ultra remains one of the most disturbing examples of government-sanctioned experimentation on its own citizens. It also helped fuel decades of conspiracy theories. Fact 8. The 17th century blood transfusion experiments. In the 1600s, European scientists tried to transfuse animal blood into humans. French physician Jean-Baptiste Denis transfused sheep's blood into humans, believing it could transfer calmness. One patient died, another went into severe shock, leading to Denis being put on trial. These experiments were based on weak science and mystical beliefs. However, they laid the groundwork for understanding incompatibility in blood types, which eventually led to safe transfusions in the 20th century. Fact 9. Isolation of the forbidden experiment, France, 1800s. What happens to a human who grows up without language? In 1800, a boy called Victor was found in the French wilderness. He had lived in isolation for most of his life and couldn't speak. Physicians saw this as a chance to study natural human development. One doctor, Jean-Marc Itard, tried to teach him language and empathy. Victor never fully learned to speak but developed emotional connections. This case inspired debates about nature versus nurture and whether language is innate or learned. It also raised ethical concerns about using children as research subjects without consent. Fact 10. Lobotomies, USA and Europe, 1940s-50s. Lobotomy was seen as a miracle cure for mental illness. Doctors inserted sharp tools through the eye socket to destroy parts of the brain's frontal lobe. Invented by Antonio Egas Moniz and popularized by Dr. Walter Freeman in the U.S., over 40,000 people were lobotomized. The results were tragic. Patients lost emotions, memories, or basic functioning. One of Freeman's most infamous cases was Rosemary Kennedy, sister of U.S. President John F. Kennedy, who was left mentally incapacitated for life. The procedure was eventually discredited and replaced by psychiatric medications. Science should always push boundaries, but when it forgets ethics, the consequences can be devastating. These experiments serve as a reminder that progress shouldn't come at the cost of humanity. Which of these shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. And follow Curiosity AI for more unbelievable true stories from history, science, and beyond.